What's up, guys? I'm back with just a quick update video. I've been using my Kinger Dripbox for a little bit. I know the vape sesh was recorded at most maybe an hour ago, so I haven't been using it that long, but I've actually been vaping on this more than the Me 1, and it's actually been vaping pretty nice. I've actually been really enjoying this little setup. The flavor's great, vapor production's still great, and I decided to be really cool to shoot a quick video just about this mod and to tell you guys how the experience has been going with it. It's still been a great vaping experience, and ever since I did record the vape sesh, I think it was number 11. Yeah, after I recorded vape session number 11, I set my Me 1 to the side because I wanted to spend a little bit of time with this just to see if the build I put in there held up and if the flavor was still good, or if I just got lucky and was able to shoot a quick video about it and it messed up on me after the video. And so after I after I recorded the video and after I ended the video, entertaining. Some people find me entertaining. Some people find me very repetitive and annoying, which I kind of can understand that because I explain things like 3 or 4 times about the same thing. But it is what it is, and it is my experience that I'm trying to explain. And whenever I first started watching vape videos and listening to people's experience, it was kind of hard to judge. Sorry about that. It was kind of hard to judge like what they were. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And it was kind of hard to judge like what they were saying completely. And whenever I first started, everything was really confusing, and all the videos they were talking about ohms and coils, resistances, airflow, and I was like, man, that's a lot of stuff to try to explain to somebody. So basically, I try to explain everything the way I would want it explained to me, and I would smoke some weed in this vape sesh, but I think me and my fiance finished it before she went to work. There actually might be a hit in here. Yeah, there wasn't much left in there, but I'm kind of still buzzed from this morning because whenever I smoke, I get like really stoned. And surprisingly, a lot of people can't tell. I guess because I've been doing it so long that they're like, oh, he's just normal. But yeah, so that is why I explained everything like 400 or 500 times about the same thing. Is I want to make sure I explained it correctly and explained it in a way that someone can like comprehend that's not me. Because of course, like I know exactly what I'm saying because it's my experience, but I'm trying to make it less. How do I explain this? Less less hard, I guess, for someone else to get. Like my fiance, whenever I talk to her about vaping and stuff, because she asks me questions every here and there when she's thinking about getting into it. That's ultimately why she decides not to go back to vaping. And she's like, it's just too complicated. You got to know so much about this mod, so much about that mod, so much about coils, so much about this. And she's like, an RDA, I don't even understand how that works. Does it hold juice or do you constantly have to drip? And then I try to explain to her, well, with squonking, you don't have to constantly drip. You just squeeze that. And she just, I'd rather just smoke a cigarette. And I understand because it is a lot easier to just fuck that. I can just pick up a cigarette and smoke. I don't have to. Is my battery charged? Is my resistance right? Why is it saying short? Uh, why was that vape dry? You know what I mean. It is a lot easier, I guess, for her. Me, I was so determined with vaping and so fascinated. I kind of took more of the hobby aspect of it and got really fascinated with learning everything and just trying to get the best vape possible. And then I came up with the idea that I wanted to make videos about what I'm vaping at the moment, what I'm vaping a month from now, comparing them, comparing RDAs, just so I can get like I could help more people and it's more options that people know about. And again, that's why I explain everything about 100 times. Is so different people that watch it, one person might get it faster than the other and understand what I'm saying, and the other person might like hear me explain it differently and understand what I'm saying. That and the fact that I am dyslexic, I don't want to lead anyone in the wrong direction is also why I explain everything about 500 times just to make sure it's like right in my own head. Can you do a long vape session after this? Yeah, I actually enjoy making really long videos. I just don't think other people enjoy it because they're kind of watching it to hear about an experience, and then they're like, okay, it's like 40 minutes in, and he's just gushing about one thing, and then I pick up another thing, and it's like another 40 minutes. But honestly, I don't mind. I like making long videos mainly because I do explain things like I said about 500 times and I am very repetitive. And that's why a lot of my videos are really really long. Like this video is already at 7 minutes and I still feel like I haven't even talked anything about what I've been using, how it's been going. You see, I get off track very easily and very distracted very easily. But I do enjoy life stories. I have a lot of life stories. Um, hmm. One of my favorite life stories, which I find very funny, and everyone always laughs when I tell this story. I was hanging out with my buddy Andrew, and it was Andrew, Jasmine, and Tyler. And for some reason, we were like smoking like very heavily and we were all really stoned. And Andrew just looks at Tyler and is like, hey, I can roundhouse kick over your head. And I was just sitting there like, why would this come up? And so Tyler goes like over here. Andrew goes over here to get a running start to like run and like guess like a roundhouse over his head. No, didn't happen. He ran, jumped straight up in the air, and kicked him right in the throat. I told him I was sorry. I was like, I would have helped you, but I couldn't breathe either because I was laughing so hard. Have I ever been caught? No, I've never been arrested. I've had cops talk to me and threaten to arrest me. The closest I ever came was one cop stopped me and he's like, "You smell like weed. Can you take off your shoes and empty out your pockets?" And then he looked at me. He's like, "Well, you don't got nothing on you, so there's nothing I can do about it, right?" And I was like, "Pretty much. I'm not gonna tell you where I got it or where I just was, if that's what you're asking." And he just looked at me and went like that, and I was like, "Well, that's all you needed. Have a nice day." And I walked off, which he stopped me because he said I was riding an illegal motorbike, which I was not. And he got really pissed off whenever I went to the chief of police, and the chief of police told me and my dad the bikes were not illegal. My buddy, the funniest thing that ever happened to him, or I guess not to him, but that I seen, was I was walking to the skate park. It was late at night, and he was sitting up there waiting for me because we had planned to smoke and get like hella stoned. It was supposed to be like kind of like a guy's night out. His girlfriend was, I believe, at a sleepover, and my girlfriend was at home being herself. She didn't like that I smoked. And as I was walking up to the skate park, I just see my buddy take off running, and a bag goes flying that way. He's got weed all in his mouth, and bam, from about 10 feet, hit in the ass with a taser. And it was just fucking hilarious. I turned around and walked out. I went through the neighborhood that was right next to the park because I figured by the time I had walked there and back, it had been about 20, 30 minutes, and everything should have been fine. I get there, he's sitting up there waiting by the bathroom. He's like, "Where were you, man?" And I was like, "Oh, no, I was here. I saw everything. I was walking in the front whenever I seen you just like sprint and get tased. So I turned around and walked off." "So what happened? What did you say?" "Oh, nothing, man. They couldn't find it." And so then for about the next 30 minutes to an hour, we were using our cell phones with the flashlight trying to find the bag of weed that he chunked in the high grass, which I would have done the same thing. Finally found it, and we hung out in the bowl for a little bit, and I think we smoked like 4 or 5 joints. We got like really fucked up. It was fun and good times. I actually really miss hanging out with him. He was like a brother to me. I've known him for a long time, but the last I heard, he had changed a little bit, and he thought it was funny that I hadn't changed at all, which I don't. I don't generally feel I need to change for anybody. I kind of do my own thing. If people don't like it, I'm not telling them to be around me or anything. If they like me and they're cool with me, that's cool. I enjoy meeting new people and talking to people. But as for the people that think what I do is stupid or disagree with my lifestyle choices, they can fuck off. I don't have time for that. And I haven't even vaped really, which this video is supposed to be about vaping. Tell us about the e-juice and your current overall best vape. My best vape, the best vape that I've gotten in a while, would honestly have to be this Squonk setup. Now, as for my favorite vape, it's the G Priv with the touchscreen, 220 watt, and I got the Steam Crave RDA on there. Single coil build, and there's not like any juice. Because, like I said in the vape sesh, all my e-juice is in my Squonk setup and in the Me 1. And this is also a good vape. And I have menthol in these two vapes that I've been going back and forth. And this is actually really nice too. The menthol does taste a lot better and is easier to vape in the Me 1. And I think that's just because, you know, an RDA, it's like a more intense flavor and hit. And it's a lot hotter depending on your build, which this build is a 0.47 ohms. And this one came out to 0.37 ohms. And I'm running it at 36 watts, or was running it at 36 watts. A good beginner setup. You know, the first setup I actually got that I considered like a big mod was the iStick Basic. It's like kind of like an all-in-one like this, but it has a tank that slides in and out. And I think I have the mod still around. And I've had this mod for a long time, since I first started vaping. I paid like $60 at a vape shop for it when it had first kind of came out. And then from there, I instantly moved to high wattage mods, which was the first high wattage mod was the X Cube 75 watt, the mini with the UL crown tank. And I still have the crown tank. And my mini I gave to my fiance a while back. And I also gave her my Evic mini, which came with the Ego 1 mega tank. But she had the Triton tank on the mini and the Cubist tank on the X Cube. and her roommate at the time stole both of those mods and tanks, which was really shitty. That kind of sucked. Another great setup that I had for a while was the MVP 2.0, the 11 watt with the Aspire Nautilus Mini. That was a great setup. One of my favorite setups. I still have the Nautilus Mini, but I do not have the MVP. I think I gave it to one of my dad's friends. He was trying to get into vaping, and he thought it was really cool. And I had bought bigger mods, and it was kind of just sitting on my shelf at the time. So I took the tank off, kept the tank, and gave him the mod. As far as I know, he still has it. And my cousin, I gave her an iStick 30 watt with a Kanger Nano tank or a sub tank. And my other cousin recently, before the hurricane hit, like a few months, I gave him the Kanger Tech knee box, and it had the RBA base in it. I had built it to like a 0.35 ohms, is what it was reading at. And he really seemed to enjoy it, but he was trying to re-wick it and fuck the coil all up. So he said he wanted to buy some pre-made ones. Never did. My best RDA, well, the RDA that I learned how to build on, my very, very first RDA that I've ever owned, was the Steam Crave. But it is not my best. It is one of my favorites, like in the top 5. My best RDA, I would have to say, is the Troll V2 or the Solo RDA for the second place. Okay, here's my top 5. The Troll V2, the Solo RDA, the 454 Big Block, the Steam Crave, and the Velocity. I don't have that one no more, but the Velocity was one of my favorite RDAs. I sold it whenever I was working down in Port Aransas to a guy for like $40, and with that $40 I went and bought another mini because my original one was black and silver, and that's the mod that started it off for me. Right now I have this kind of twisted wire build in there, and it's actually vaping really nice, but I'm not for sure why. I think it's just because I've had these coils for a while. I did dry burn and clean both of these coils. This one's a much beefier coil, if I could get it to show on camera. And yeah, it's bone dry. But these coils are older coils that I had, and I just re-dry burned them, cleaned them. I am ordering some more, a big box of coils tonight, some pre-made ones, some twisted wire, some Alien Clapton, some Clapton coils, some Tiger coils, I think they were called. Yeah, these ones are old, and this one's actually a little bit smaller of a coil and much newer, so it's actually vaping a lot better than the one in the Steam Crave, and I'll just give you guys a demonstration. And again, this is like only built at a 0.47 ohms. I checked the resistance before I stuck it on there because I know on the Kanger Tech, I think the lowest you can build is like a 0.2 ohm. And so that's why I made sure it was a little higher of a build. Yeah, I do plan to start vlogging. Like I know at the park where me and my fiance go, they offer free Wi-Fi at the park, so I thought it would be a cool idea to shoot some vape videos at the park. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get up there yet, and the videos might be a little bit worse quality or better quality depending on if I can get the phone to act right. Because I film everything off of my laptop, or well, it's her laptop, whenever she gets a new one, she's gonna go ahead and just let me keep this one because she's had it for a long time and I have all my accounts and everything set up on here, and she doesn't really use it. But I really do enjoy this vape. It's awesome. And yeah, the Me One, also for someone just starting, the 0.6 ohm coils, they've actually not given me any issues. And I figured out the reason the 0.5s were giving me issues. Like I said in my other videos, I was filling the tank way too full, so some of it would come out the top, but some of the liquid had nowhere to go, so it would flood inside the coil, and I had to vape it until the liquid was vaped out. So what I started doing was I fill it just barely underneath the line, and I've had no spit back and no flooding issues, and it's been a great vape as well. And as for an RTA, I've only used one RTA, and it was the Griffin 22 millimeter. It was one of my favorite RDAs. It actually got stolen from me one night at work. A group of teenagers or kids, they didn't have nowhere to go, and I was working the front office. So I told them it would be cool if they chilled in there for a while until daylight and they can get a ride home. Well, one of the girls there kept asking me about my mods and if I was selling any. I told her I would sell the EVIC 60-watt mod, but not my tank because it was my RTA, the Griffin. And the next day, I went to get it out of my backpack. The mod was still in there, but the tank was gone. So I'm pretty sure they stole my tank. But I have no hard feelings. Obviously, they needed it more than I did. And yeah, so this is also a great starter setup, or even something simple like this with an anodless mini would be great. And other other starter setups that I've liked. There's been a few. The H-Priv with the Baby Beast tank, those, the 0.6 ohm coils, I was able to get those to work for me. The 0.2 and the 0.4, I've had nothing but bad experiences with. Even though I still have the big Baby Beast tank, she wanted me to, she likes the tank, my fiance, and she's thinking about getting back into vaping. I told her she could have that tank. I have no plans to use it. It worked for her. She wants to get some coils for it. Me, I'm I'm pretty much just a builder. I don't use tanks all that often. I have been recently just because stressed out about building and getting kind of frustrated with building it not coming out to the ohms I want, or the wicking not wicking properly and giving me dry hits. I appreciate that. You know, you guys have been really cool, and I do appreciate the comments and getting to talk to you guys. That's, I know I take like a different approach with my YouTube channel. Most vape YouTube channels are more reviews or telling you about what they're going to review. Me, it's more I tell you about my experience, what I'm using at the moment, and I just enjoy talking to you guys and, you know, telling you a little bit about me, about my life stories, which vapes have worked the best, which vapes have let me down, and I like to shoot everything live. For that reason, is I can see and like interact directly with you, not, well, I watched his posted video, let me comment and see if he comments back. I'm interacting with you from the get-go, and I really like being able to do that, and I feel like it helps people out more in the long run compared to watching a pre-recorded video and then not being able to talk to the person directly or getting their questions answered. But I think my dad's calling me. So that's probably going to do it for this video. I will probably come back a little later today and give another update on how my squonk's holding up. Still full of juice. It hasn't been using that much juice either, and I've been taking some pretty huge vapes off it. Yeah, I've noticed that. Like, don't get me wrong. I want to talk about this before I go really quick. He can wait a minute. I've noticed that too. A lot of vape channels, it's the same thing. It's just here's a product, here's what it does, and you never see it again. How do you know if it like worked after that? Like I know they say they've used it for weeks and stuff, but I like to. I've always looked for videos that showed them using it constantly, or like for example, the Me One. I've had it in other videos, and every now and then I bring it back on the channel just because I like vaping off it, and tell people, hey, it's still good, it's still going. I still vape off it. Just because it was in that video and it hasn't been in my videos recently, don't mean I don't use it. Like the Cloud4 Mini, right now it don't have a battery, but before I filmed the vape sesh, I had one of my, and this is not safe, I don't recommend it. I had one of my older batteries in there, and I was just vaping on the 30 watt with the Steam Crave, and then I wanted to get the G Priv and the Steam Crave set up in the vape sesh video, so I put the Steam Crave back on the G Priv, and unfortunately I had already vaped the cotton pretty much dry, so I was only able to take one puff off it in the vape sesh, but it will be in future videos, just like the Me One's been on and off the channel. This is the first time this has been on the channel. The iStick, it's been on and off the channel, and I actually plan to get my Anodless Mini going and put on there and rotate the Anodless Mini between the 30 watt and the iStick Mini. But right now, this is the current setup I've been vaping, and I've kind of been going back and forth between these, but today I've mainly been just using this, and I've been really enjoying it. It takes me back to why I love building, and since I quit the nicotine, my building has actually gotten a lot better because I have more patience. I'm not like in a rush, like trying to hurry so I can get my nicotine fix. I can just sit there, take my time, and get a good vape experience. So I have really been enjoying the Squawk setup. It's been nice. I like the fact that I could charge the battery while it's in there. I like the big juice capacity, but I get the dripping experience, and it holds more juice than the Me One, which the Me One hasn't really been going through that much juice. I've still got like basically a full tank. Let me see. Yeah, it's just a little bit under the max line. I have tried that one, the Ego AIO. That's where I got my glass drip tip and that gray drip tip. The reason I don't have that mod anymore was during the hurricane, I actually lost a few vape mods. Like I had the Subbox Mini with black Kanger mini tank. I lost that one during the hurricane and wasn't able to find it. The Ego AO, I did find it, but the glass was shattered and it was covered in mud, gunky. The only thing I managed to do was take out a drip tip that I had in there and get the drip tip clean. The AIO, it was like the Me One. When I didn't flood the coil, it worked great. Whenever the coil was flooded, it sucked and gave a bad vape experience. But I might actually get the Ego AIO again because I really did like the changing color lights and whenever I was vaping at night, and I thought it was really cool. Plus, it would take the same coils as this, so I could keep two setups going. And the Cubist tank. I'm thinking about getting that tank back so I could have three setups going. The tank on either the 30 watt Cloud4 Mini or my G Proof, and I could have the My One going and the Ego AIO. But that's going to do it for this video. I better go see what he needs before it gets out of hand or so. But yeah, guys, I really enjoy the comments. I enjoy talking to you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later, guys.